Hello, this is Tripless. I am very sleepy. I don't know how I'm gonna do this video, but I wanted to do a video about how to make a convincing looking teen sim and create a sim. And so I'm gonna show you how to do that. Hopefully it will be good and be accurate. This is not a video about how to make a glitzy glamour just hit 18 teen who looks sexy or whatever. Oh, no judgment on that. That's just not what this is a tutorial for. Uh, there's a lot of discussion about teens and how they don't look convincingly like teens, and at a glance they could pass for young adults, and there's some tricks and tips and so on and so forth that can help your teen look more like a team. Like this person here, I think they're pretty convincing. But I'm going to try to walk you through from the very beginning and talk about some of the strategies. Not all of these are things that I've come up with on my own. Some of them I've read from other people, for instance, making the head kind of large, making the feet larger for more of an awkward look. That's actually something I read from Cinderella Mouse on the forums, and I was like, that sounds like a really good idea, and then I did it, and I think it worked. But I'm going to try to walk you through some general stereotypical tips. This isn't, going to cover every look for a teen possible. You're going to want to kind of experiment to see what you can come up with. But we'll see what we can do here, starting fresh with a teen. So I have this sim here. Fresh sim, I just changed them to teen. It's completely random what their traits are, their name is. It doesn't matter. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to make them look like they're convincingly a teen, and not in the sense that you look at them and you're like, oh, they could be a teen, but in the sense that you look at them and you're like, I find it hard to believe that they are anything but a teen. So, first things first, we're just going to remove their hair because we want to get a look at their face, clear of the influence of hair. Can start with some templates here. Choose a template maybe that looks a bit more young, teenish-ish kind of thing going on. This looks like kind of a younger person template. But, one of the things we're going to go for here is some kind of awkward features. A little bit of awkwardness on the face. Because teens don't always grow in quite the normal proportional way. So, I'm going to make the face or the head a little bit big here. But then we're going to make the features themselves kind of pulled in, and the eyes, for instance, don't really want the black kind of built in. It looks almost like eyeliner. Because a teen, the sort of at a glance look we're going for here, makeup just makes things really complicated. We're not going for a teen who's wearing makeup. That adds a layer of complication that I'm not that experienced at. But so, eyes, we're going to go for kind of rounder eyes, close into the face. Give her kind of a wider nose, larger nose, so it's a bit ill-fitting on the face. And then for the lips, we can pick some at random here and just draw them in a bit, make them a little smaller, because their features are small, but the face is big. So this is going to cause kind of a contrast and exaggerate the perception that her features are kind of ill-fitting for her face, which gives it a little bit more of a childlike appearance. Like, for instance, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, so say we look at a toddler, for instance. Similar idea here. The face is kind of oversized for the features. We have this tiny little nose, tiny little lips, kind of round little eyes and eyebrows, and then the face is kind of huge by comparison. So the idea here is we're basically tricking the eye, because the template for a teen isn't all that convincing. So we're trying to choose things in a way that the eye is going to look at it and they're essentially going to think this looks more like a sort of innocent, youthful kind of face. So we have kind of a rounder, smaller features going on here. Then for hair, probably going to want to choose something longer and bushier, because a teen isn't, especially teen girls, they're, if we're going for kind of this stereotypical thing, they might have hair that's more just this sort of just falling out of their head, just layers of hair everywhere. Like, again, using an example, we have a female toddler here. What are the hairstyles? Just crazy hair. Just absolutely crazy hair. That's kind of what we're going for. There are a number of different hairstyles, some of them base, some are from packs, and you can kind of play around with what you have and try to find something that looks more like a younger kind of style. Then we have the body. One of the more kind of obvious techniques here is just to make them really skinny. This is obviously kind of stereotypical, teens aren't really like, there, there are teens who are, they're overweight. They have wide hips, large bodies, whatever. But this is just kind of a stylized, stereotypical way to make them look more proportionally youthful, and this works well with the kind of larger head, because the head, we want it to look bigger in proportion to the body, because it creates that kind of awkwardness. I'm going to make the feet kind of larger, which again adds to the awkwardness factor. And then in terms of clothing, we want to kind of try to pick clothing that is sort of one of the things to realize about clothing is that you want clothing that when the eye looks at it from a distance, it creates this perception of it being shorter. So like in this case, for instance, we have kind of a long jacket here, and then these pants are sort of long, but they kind of cut off soon enough here that it doesn't really make her look tall. If you were to have just the emphasis was on the pants being long, and you had heels, for instance, the right kind of heels, that can actually give a perception of being taller. So you want to go for something that's going to give the eye the illusion of being a shorter height. One way you can sometimes accomplish this is with not cropped pants exactly. I suppose shorts can work, but if you expose the length of the legs, it's not necessarily gonna create an impression of being shorter. So what you can do is you can take these longer kind of pants, but then you take some kind of shoes that go up pretty far. It's not working for these pants. I need pants with the boots. They show up. They show through. It's not working. Wrong pants. Here we go. Here's an example. So the boots, we'll change it to a color so you can better catch it visually. So the boots are coming up high enough that this kind of cuts it off, and it gives more of an impression of a shorter height. Also note the difference here. This jacket is kind of thin, doesn't go out that far to the sides. This again has an effect on how long you perceive the person to be, whereas this jacket has kind of a broader pull on the sides. So it's going to draw your eyes more outward, and it's going to give you more of a perception of the sim being shorter. One of the things I did here is I gave her these kind of awkward, gigantic glasses, which I think was a nice touch to sort of send home that point of awkwardness. I think at a glance, this person's nose just looks strange to me. It's bugging the crap out of me for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm going to change that around a little bit. So we have someone here. I think she's looking kind of teenish. We could probably add a little bit of weight and it's not going to look too strange. Or it's not going to take too much away from the teen aspect. We could possibly even widen her hips a little bit, or down kind of in her chest, and that might just stretch out the pull of the jacket, and she can look a little bit shorter. We could actually make her legs look a little bit more skinny. You know, really just experiment around with these things and see how it catches your eye. But these eyes, for instance, you may actually want to make them a little bit bigger, or maybe make them a little more round. These eyes are kind of, we could pull them in like this, make them less wide out this way. The roundness can then make her face look a little bit more in that kind of childlike way. Could pull them up like this. It's not, you know, an exact science, but these are ways that you can add to that sort of perception. We could also give her some goofy glasses like the other one. Same general idea. I don't know that they really fit for this face, but that's something you can do. This person, notice the cheeks are kind of fat looking. There's kind of an appearance of some baby fat there. In this case, they seem to be a little odd here. I don't know what's really going on with the cheeks. We could pull them in, pull them out. Pulling them out is going to have kind of a strange effect because she looks kind of like a chipmunk now. Like probably storing things in her cheeks. It's kind of strange. But you can do that. You can pull them up, you can pull them down, and just kind of play around with it until you get it where you want it. That's really the key of this, is play around with it until you get something that looks convincing to you. But note note those concepts of you're going for something that has kind of a youthful look. So if you're struggling with making something convincing and you need a reference point, just go look at a default kind of toddler, go look at a child. You can get a sense of what kind of things they're doing here by default that help create that perception of youthfulness. And then you can try to kind of apply the same concepts. And I mean, we're not going for exactitude here. This isn't like I'm making a 16-year-old or I'm making a 14-year-old. You know, it's just kind of playing around until it's convincing to the point that you're like, I could not believe that this person is a young adult. Like, right now, I think I have this one to a point where I would be pretty weirded out if someone tried to tell me that this sim is a young adult. I don't think I would really believe them. So, there's a short kind of overview of things. I probably forgot a lot of details because I'm very sleepy, but hopefully this gave you some insight into how to make a convincing team with the Sims 4 Create a Sim, what is available to utilize. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up, ask me away. I will do my best to answer them. I've been studying kind of casually these principles of fashion and things, and especially to do with characters in video games for a very long time. So it's something I feel pretty comfortable with, and I'd be happy to try to point you in the right direction. So I hope you enjoy creating your convincing teen Sims, and that's all I really have to say on that for now. I will see you next time I see you, which will be a time in the future, unless I see you in the past, in which case one of us is probably time traveling. Goodbye.